Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Gregory Leskin from the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. It's really great to be with you today. Today, Julia Yeary and I will be discussing helping kids break unwanted habits, and we're really just so pleased to be here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia Yeary. I'm the Director of Military Family Projects at 0 to 3. So, as Greg said, what we're going to talk about is helping you help your child break a habit that you aren't so fond of. Notice that I didn't say bad. We really don't want to be judgmental here because habits are, by definition, an acquired behavior regularly followed until it has almost become involuntary. Thanks, dictionary.com, for that definition. Notice that I said almost involuntary, and that's what we really want to address. Habits are formed to meet a need. They work in the moment to fill an emotional need. So getting rid of a habit is hard because the behavior exists because that habit actually helped to relieve whatever the emotional need was. And now, even if it isn't working like it was before, it's really hard to help our emotional brain understand that it's not needed anymore. And it's really hard for our emotional brain to understand that there might be a better way to fill that need. Habits that annoy parents developed early in childhood usually were there to serve as attention relief, out of boredom, or to help with self-comfort and emotional regulation. Or sometimes they're there because they were intentionally or unintentionally reinforced by the adults in that child's life. Now, let's say your child has a habit of sucking their thumb to comfort themselves when they're upset. Well, it's possible that your child started this habit before they were even born. There's plenty of ultrasound film showing an unborn baby with their thumb in their mouth. Sucking is a baby's natural way to self soothe. So it's naturally reinforcing for a baby. You might have helped your child find their thumb when they were a newborn so that your child would be able to comfort themselves when they were crying or fussing. And it is kind of cute to see a newborn with their teeny tiny thumb in their mouth. It's just adorable. But what do you think about a 12-year-old sucking their thumb or a 28-year-old man? I actually worked with a man who used thumb sucking as his primary way of cooling down when he felt dysregulated or when he was mad, scared, frustrated, or sad. But he was very embarrassed because he was made fun of when he was in elementary school. So he stopped doing this behavior in front of others. And he only felt comfortable using this method of self calming when he was alone at home. He clearly has adapted his habit to fit his life as a grown up. But he didn't have a method of dealing with his emotions when he wasn't alone at home. So he was referred to me because he was having anger management issues at work. The habitual behavior fills a need. By simply taking away the behavior, you're still left with a need that's unmet. If you don't think about habits filling that need and you simply forbid the behavior for your child, saying, you will not, you may end up with a situation that's even more problematic. When you think about a habit your child has had that you find annoying, the first thing to do is to think about, where is this behavior coming from? What need is it filling? That information is definitely necessary if you want to successfully eliminate the behavior without another undesired behavior replacing it.
That's so interesting, Julia. The habits that develop in early childhood tend to fade by middle childhood or become confined to specific places or times, such as in the evening when the child is watching TV, or alone at bedtime, or when the child becomes upset or stressed. By the time children are between 6 to 8, as they typically mature and develop greater self-control, these habits tend to resolve and disappear. Between these years, the child usually spends time at school, and the normal pressures from being around peers might naturally influence the child's behavior as they try to fit into similar norms as their friends. Concerned parents might feel compelled to try to manage or help stop these childhood habits from occurring. The first step in helping the child manage these self comforting habits is simply ignore them. That's right. Not draw too much attention to your child's behavior, since most of the time they'll simply disappear on their own. If we call too much attention to the habit or cause the child to feel overly self conscious or even embarrassed, this might have the opposite effect and cause greater tension for the child, resulting in increase or potentially worsening of the behavior. Punishment, too, is not an effective means to reduce habitual childhood behaviors either, including taking things away from the child, as well as other types of more punitive parent approaches. In fact, these might result in worsening of behaviors as the child feels increased fears or greater needs for self soothing or comfort. While an annoying habit can be frustrating for any parent, it is quite natural for a parent to want to do something to help. Sometimes the best course of action is to withhold negative comments to your child's habits. There are some supportive approaches you can take to support your child and their habits. For example, when you see your child is not doing a particular habit, provide verbal praise, emotional warmth, and even provide an obvious reward to your child, such as a healthy and fun activity you can do together. For children who are picking their fingernails or skin or nose, providing the child with a substitute or non face or body alternative to occupy their hands instead of picking at themselves can include fidget cubes or spinner rings or stress balls. Some ideas for excellent rewards include getting a new book for the child to read, choosing a movie to watch together, a new craft to work on, playing a game of cards together, or selecting some music to play and sing together. Rewards and positive reinforcement are often best used to encourage positive behaviors. So it's also perfectly acceptable to encourage your child's development of new habits and chores that help build structure. Receiving stars on a chart or small rewards for new behaviors may be a healthy way to encourage this new healthy behavior as well. We also want to work with our children and help set them up for success. Talk with your child about their habits in a very calm way. Ask your child, how can we help solve this? How can we see what they say to that? It might take some work with your child to understand how they are feeling, but it might be helpful to get to the underlying cause of the tension, loneliness, or worry that your child is feeling or experiencing that's underlying this habit. They might need verbal reassurance, or they might have childhood fears that are causing the anxiety. It is also important to give your child lots of choice so that they can experience greater control in their lives. For example, at bedtime, ask your child if they want to brush their teeth or read a book first. They will need to complete both tasks, but might help be helpful for them to feel more in control if they have a choice in the matter. Finally, it is important to find regular ways to exercise or take walks with your child so that they are benefiting from the workout and natural reduction of their tension in this natural way too.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I think it's kind of thinking about how you can help a child naturally learn how to regulate when they're feeling stress or tension, or get them involved in an activity when they're bored. Those are all things to help them to move away from the habit you're trying to get rid of, or to extinguish, excuse me. So understanding a child's development really can help you also prevent your child from developing an unwanted habit, because a child is just developing their parasympathetic nervous system. Um, when they're first born, they don't have it, and they develop it slowly over the first few years of life. They really need your support as their caregiver in learning how to self-calm, how to regulate their emotions. And so one of the resources I wanted to share with you is that our app, Babies on the Home Front, there's a series of articles that can provide you with strategies to help build your child's skill in self-regulation. It's so important when trying to prevent behaviors like thumb sucking, nail biting, and nose picking later on in childhood to help give your child healthy ways of learning how to self calm and regulate. So, check out Babies on the Home Front and the articles How I Learn Self Control and How I Learn to Regulate My Emotions. These tips can be found specific to your child's young age from newborn to 3 year olds at babiesonthehomefront.org. And they've put that link into the chat so you can check that out. 0 to 3 also offers great resources on specific habits you might want to help your child change, like dealing with whining, right? One of many parents' worst nightmares is when their child whines and you can't get them to stop. There's some ideas in this article. Or biting. We have lots of great information about when your child bites. Or how about sassing? Okay, so check out these resources on the 0 to 3 website. Again, we have links specifically to these 3 articles in the chat, but you can feel free to check out the 0 to 3 website about generally about how to support young children and the development of their behaviors. Greg?
Those are some fantastic resources. Thank you, Julia. It is very important to provide your child with regular verbal praise for those behaviors and habits that we want to see repeated. Sometimes a simple hug, a pat on the head or back, or verbal praise such as good job will provide plenty of encouragement for your child. Children love to please their parents. It's also very important for parents to remember to show their child that they can be pleased by their child's behavior and efforts, especially very small steps and change. All parents get very busy and have difficult emotional experiences at times and need to balance tasks and work with their childcare. However, it is also very important to remember that your child might be trying to do things that will make you proud of them and hope that you'll feel pleased by their efforts. These are the times that is especially important to remember to say, I'm really proud of you. You've made a lot of progress and sound great when you sing. Or look at how nice your drawings are. You're certainly becoming very artistic. Due to the pandemic, we have been limited in terms of some of the more social activities we can encourage and provide as rewards. However, hopefully, as we safely open up more places and activities, this should provide parents with greater opportunities to engage in fun filled activities with their children, especially as rewards and positive reinforcement for healthy habits. Examples could include going to the zoo or museum or sporting events. Closer to home, let's start inviting friends over for play dates or a scavenger hunt or camp out in the backyard. This has been a difficult year for many that has created change and tension for children and families. It would not be surprising to see children develop new unwanted habits during this time. As we have mentioned earlier, most of these habits will eventually go away by themselves. However, if the habit continues or worsens or causes your child physical health problems or is overly excessive, it might be very helpful to speak with a military family life counselor or an MFLEC. And you could do this by calling Military One Source at 1 800 342 9647. Examples can include hair pulling or skin picking or excessive masturbation or other methods of self soothing. It is very important not to shame a child who's experiencing these behaviors, but to help them understand the root of their behaviors. Work with them to help establish routines and greater responsibilities with many opportunities for praise and positive reward. On behalf of Julia, Yeary, and myself, we want to say how much we appreciate the time you take to work on understanding your child's behaviors and think about ways to become a parent who provides regular positive feedback and encouragement to your child. We recognize and know that being a parent is hard work on top of the many other responsibilities that you have. There are lots of supports available that can help you to reduce your stress and help you reach your own goals. Thank you for all you do to protect our nation while caring for our nation's military children. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you.